Hi, my name is Easton Lewis, and I'll be continuing with Chapter 2, which is the Introduction to Law and the Legal Environment of Business. This chapter begins with describing what the legal environment of business is and how it is often defined in its various ways. For one, it can be defined by legal reasoning, critical thinking skills, and ethical norms. It is also defined as the legal administrative law processes or selective areas of public and private laws. Lastly, it can be defined as the examination of international dimensions of the legal environment of law. The chapter continues and goes on to define what jurisprudence is. Jurisprudence is a science or a philosophy of law or law in its most generalized form. There are many schools of jurisprudence to define the laws in its various ways. One school is the natural law. This law of jurisprudence defines law by legal values or value judgments, whether these value judgments or legal values are absolute, and whether these legal values or value judgments can be determined by human reasons. Once they are determined, they override any form of human law. Next is the positivist law school. This law is defined by the expression of the will of the legislator or sovereign. Second, morals are separate from law and should not be considered in making legal decisions. And third, law is a closed logical system in which correct legal decisions are reached solely by logic and the use of precedents. The third school is sociological school. This school determines law by a legislator or judge should make an inventory or community interests. Second, judges and legislators should use this inventory to familiarize themselves with community standards and morals. And then third, the judge or legislator should rule or legislate in conformity with those standards and morals. Next is the American Realist School. This school focuses on people and on the actors in the judicial system. It sees laws as a part of society and means of enforcing political and social values. Next is the Critical Legal Studies School. This school seeks to connect what happens in the legal system to the political economic context within which it operates. They believe law reflects a cluster of beliefs that convince human beings in relations under which they lie and work are natural and must be accumulated. Next is the Feminist School. This school believes significant rights to women, advocate lobbying legislators and courts for charges and laws to accommodate women views. The next school is Law and Economic School. This law advocates using classical economic theory and empirical methods of economics to explain and predict judges' decisions in which areas are contracts, property law, criminal law, administration law, and law enforcement. And then the chapter goes on to describe the sources of laws. There are three branches of laws. Each branch represents a separate source of law while performing its functions. Branch one is the legislative branch. This branch focuses on making the laws and known as the creator of laws. The second branch is the executive branch, where it enforces the laws. And then third, the judicial branch is the interpreter of its laws. The chapter finds criminal law and civil law. Criminal law compromises the federal and state statutes that prohibit wrongful conduct such as rape, murders, forgery, and fraud. It also defines civil law as compromises federal and state statutes governing legislations between two private parties. And then lastly, it defines public and private law as public laws that deal with the relationship of government to individual citizens. And then private laws is generally concerned with the enforcement of private duties. So that's all I have for chapter 2. It was interesting learning all the different schools and how they define their laws, because looking at all the schools and whatnot, you never think that laws can be defined in that many ways. So I appreciate it, and thank you.